Testing. Testing. Is that working, everybody? Wow. Okay. Remember what I told you? Everybody here in the box seats here, if it gets too loud, what do you got to do? Just yell. That's one option. All right. The other thing is we do have a cane where you can pull me off. Okay. So welcome, everybody. Really appreciate everybody being here today. I only have a limited time up here, but I will tell you, if they, the committee, gave me opportunity to speak, I could speak forever on this, from the heart and from a variety of different perspectives. It is such a beautiful, beautiful event here. This is one of our most favorite events of the year, to celebrate all of you, Patients of the Year, and everyone that's involved with all of you. That might be friends or families, certainly people at RHI. We're going to talk a little bit here about the care team, a variety of all of you here that kind of encompasses what is extremely, extremely special. You have all made an impact upon this world, certainly us here at RHI. So, in the spirit of holding off on me going way off, okay, and I'm the only one here that's talking for the next 5 hours, but you won't like that. I wrote out my presentation here a bit so I can stay focused. So, the Dr. Hira Khanna Patients of the Year is probably one of the most special events we have at RHI. And you're going to hear a little bit about Dr. Khanna here in a bit. It is both an emotionally charged event while also being one of increased sensitivity, given all the work and heart each patient has put into your recovery. Each patient coming through RHI is extremely special to the RHI team. Every patient is unique and brings something very special to their recovery. At RHI, we look for those special patient characteristics and work to learn about each life we have the privilege to be part of. And it truly is a privilege. The Patient of the Year definition for us is essentially those who inspired you, inspired other patients, and went above and beyond to overcome their challenges. And there were many of those challenges that all of you experienced. However, I would venture to say that those challenges turned into opportunities for all of you. A common theme that we live by is our medicine is our people. And we never take for granted the significance of what our patients bring to their recovery. At the foundation and hospital board levels, each and every discussion incorporates respect, and that's in capital letters, for our patients and drives all that we do with this privilege of taking care of all of you and the people that we work with. Our life work is to ensure that we provide the best practice care to anyone needing rehabilitation care after devastating medical conditions. And in turn, helping patients thrive where they can get back to work, play, and living once again. RHI is one of a kind when bringing the entire continuum of patient care across one system, while also including best practice research and returning to our patients proven ways to help them in their recovery. We thank all of our patients for trusting us with their lives and the privilege to serve all of you. As I think of what I call our care teams, I want to thank all of our clinical and non-clinical staff for all you have provided to our patients each and every day. I want to thank our patients for your extreme efforts you bring to your team. I especially want to thank Dr. Khanna, who had been a patient at RHI and since passed in 2020, for his display of courage and hard work during his rehabilitation journey as a patient, and his love, compassion, and expertise as a world-renowned neurosurgeon. I would also like to thank the Dr. Khanna family. Anisha's here. There she is. For your ongoing support and love for our patients and RHI family through the Dr. Khanna Patient of the Year program. Please take a look to your left, my right, the tree here. This is the Dr. Khanna Patient of the Year tree that we have leaves presented for all of those Patients of the Year. It's a beautiful, beautiful art piece and certainly reflects all the love and care that is put behind all of you and the care and work that you provided and supported. I will end with some remarkable history of Dr. Khanna. Dr. Hira Khanna, born in Amritsar, India in 1932, aspired to be a neurosurgeon. He completed his neurosurgical residency at the University of Cincinnati and practiced neurosurgery in Youngstown, Ohio from 1974 to 2008. Neurosurgery and neurosurgical advancement were his passion. Consequently, he authored many publications, some of which remain critical papers for early surgical stroke intervention still today. Due to his achievements, he was invited to speak across the United States, Canada, Italy, India, Spain, and Germany. He was inaugurated as a Fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons in England and the American College of Surgeons. Notably, Dr. Khanna was honored in the House of Lords in England for his contributions in the field of neurosurgery. Privately, Dr. Khanna cherished being with his family. He was gentle, humble, and quiet. People were drawn to him. Many still reflect on his smile, how he adored a good joke, loved to dance, and worked tirelessly to provide for his family and patients. Things did not come easy for Dr. Khanna. However, his overarching creed was, if you believe, you can achieve, and therefore he did. I remember clearly Dr. Khanna here when he was at RHI, and I remember clearly that what is stated here was exactly who he was and who he always will be to all of us. And that's what's reflected in all of you, and certainly reflected in that tree that you see. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to our chaplain, Joan Dell, and she's going to begin with a word of prayer for us.
We gather today from different places, from different backgrounds, and different stories. We gather today to celebrate the patients of the year. You who have worked so hard and have taught us so much about strength and grace and faith. We gather today to celebrate the families and friends that love, support, and journey with the patients through the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, the successes and the disappointments, the ringing of the bell, and the return to home. Many of us gather today as we do every day. The administrative staff, doctors, nursing, therapists, pharmacy, housekeeping, maintenance, food service, and chaplain. All joining together to care for you, to serve you. We gather today to celebrate the healing that takes place within these walls. We who gather today are held together by the hope we share, the power of hope. It enables patients to go beyond what they thought they might be able to do, and then to climb the mountains. Hope. It empowers family and friends to unselfishly travel alongside a loved one on the journey, often putting aside, for a time, their own needs. Hope. It empowers staff members to over and over again answer the call to serve, and to serve with excellence. Hope. We embrace it when the sun shines bright, but also knowing that when the sun goes down and the darkness sets in, there will be stars. And again, we embrace the hope. Join me in a prayer. May RHI continue to be a place of care, healing, and compassion throughout the years to come. And that all of you may continue to move forward in your journeys. We humbly thank our Creator, and we humbly thank you, the honorees, for allowing the staff at RHI to be witness to the strength, the courage, the spirit, the tenacity, the grace, the insights, and the love that each of you have shown within yourselves and then offer to all of us. Blessings to all of you, and may we always have hope. Amen. I would now like to invite our host, Bill Ruinger, to come up and take it out.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Joan. And thank you all for being here on this wonderful day. For years, I've oftentimes commented that the RHI Patient of the Year, the Dr. Hirokana Patient of the Year ceremony, is always the best day of the year at RHI, but I'll still argue that Foods of the World is a very close second. What I am going to do, I am going to introduce everybody who is a nominee for Patient of the Year. I'm also going to introduce and say out who nominated them, and if the person who nominated them would like to come up and share a story, whether it's a funny anecdote of what they were doing in therapy, in a way that they inspired other patients on the unit or in the therapy gym or at our Northwest Brain Injury Center. Anything that they want to share, I'm going to invite everybody to share as much as they can. And if they feel that they would rather let me read off what they had written down, that's fine too, because we are here to celebrate you. Having said that, our first nominee is James Allers, and he was nominated by Rachel German and Emily Moore. James, do you want to, James, you could either come up here or stand where you're at and we'll come to you. James, where you at? James Allers.
James here. Raise your hand, James, if you're here. Okay.
Okay. Lane Beard. Would you like to come up here? Shortly after turning 18 years old, anybody in the room wants to make a name for themselves. Whether it's school, job, what mark they're going to leave on the world, we have the world at our hands, and we're going to grab it by the tail and make it our own. Unfortunately, life threw a curveball to our Elvis impersonator here, Lane. He's a devout Christian. Loves God, loves his parents, and that was no more evident than the day he came in. And he wasn't able to tell us how much he loved all of those things. It was in there. We worked very, very hard to get those things out. So my job was to try to give a funny anecdote with over 780 Elvis recording titles to give a funny thing. And I was going over these with our good friend Derek on our unit, and by the time I said we're going to have a blue Christmas because Lane's going to be outside walking so much and he's not going to come in, he's like, God, Bill, come on. I think it's time we leave that alone. So Lane had an extensive stay here. We were really slow with our progress initially. It never was a darkened moment for Lane or his wonderful parents. What we kept doing was staying on the course. And I didn't step on his blue sage roots there. I got one in. Thank you. But as we started to see more and more things happen, more movements, Lane starting to talk a little bit, making noises, we say to our doctors, hey, I'd like for Lane to stay a little longer so we can make more progress. Mom and Dad said, absolutely, Lane stayed. We kept working, we kept working, we kept working, and then just as soon as we thought maybe we weren't going to need a wheelchair, maybe we could change the equipment that we needed, it was time for Lane to go home. And he has continued his journey at our sister facility in Vic, up on the northwest side. What is wonderful about the joys of social media, we have been able to keep track of Lane's progress. Mom, Dad, there isn't a day go by when you've posted something remarkable that Lane has done that I haven't shown other people who maybe not be on that page of social media, and it just brings a joy to our heart and a tear to our eyes. Lane, you are a true inspiration to us. We love you, and we want you to, not step on my blue suede shoes either. Thank you, Lane. Our next nominee has been nominated by Teresa Cochran and Allison Spade from our Northwest facility. Teresa, would you like to come up? And Teresa and Allison have nominated Juan Covarrubias. Juan?
An amazing individual who continues to make progress to this day. We have fun every session. Lower the mic? Closer. Better? Okay. Okay. I'll read what we read and then I will add some more. That's late. Here we go. Okay. Juan, I nominated you because you're still incredibly highly motivated. You're always after more information to continue your rehab progress, get better and better every time you come in. Absolute rock star at communicating no matter how you can. Pulls out his phone, looks at a map, shows pictures. Coming from a place where you were barely able to speak at all, to now saying your children's names, going into Starbucks, ordering your favorite Starbucks coffee, white chocolate mocha, talk about a mouthful, it's hard to say things. Showing me the best pizza place in town next time I go to Chicago. Just absolutely amazing. Always doing his homework, always asking for more. You participate also in the Butler Aphasia group. So going out into the community and getting more services that are available. I know that you also, with Allison, thinking of where you started, you're driving now on your own. Have been for a long time, since you've been up at IMBIC. So I just cannot rave enough about how much your story warms my heart for not only your high motivation, how easy you make our jobs with helping you because of that, and how hard you work. Anything we offer to you, you just take off. Every session that I still see this guy talk about hope and progress at this stage of the game, like almost a year out now, right? You're still making phenomenal progress, and I know that that will continue. So if anybody needs a glimmer into hope, right here we are. Amazing young man.
Our next nominee was nominated by Emily Johnson. Emily Johnson, are you here? Would you like to read? Emily Johnson has nominated Haley Graham.
Okay, hello. So Haley has advocated for herself to be Patient of the Year since she first heard about it. Luckily, she was actually very deserving of the award. She's a very hard worker and has made amazing progress since her time at RHI. Her determination has brought her a long way in her recovery. Something a little funny. So Haley would always notice the pictures that used to be along the hallways for past Patients of the Year. And she said she was going to write up her own story and picture and hang it up on the wall to see if anyone would notice. So every time we would walk around the hallways, I would always keep my eyes peeled to see if she had added anything to the wall. Also, all the pictures behind you of our leadership, executive leadership, she also wanted to bring a big portrait of her face. There's one empty box back there, so you all keep your eyes peeled, and maybe a picture of Haley. As far as we know, she hasn't done that. But she's still coming, so you never know. Her fun personality has made her a joy to work with and very deserving to be Patient of the Year. And also, she's getting married this weekend. Woo!
Haley, you missed the opportunity. You should have put the registry up by the picture instead.
There's still time.
It always warms the heart when our next nominee has been nominated by not one, but two, but three different therapists. So if Wendy Pullen, Anna Broadhurst, or Lindsay Tiberius here, that they would like to read off. Oh, well, it says type. Okay, Shoger, Lindsay Shoger. I'll amend this here. Lindsay Shoger, and they have nominated Devin Guffey.
So when we first knew we were going to be speaking here today, I think my first comment was, I could talk all day long about Devin Guffey, but I won't, okay? So when we first met Devin on his first day of therapy evaluations here at RHI, he was unable to hold up his own head, and he could barely move his limbs. You see, Devin had sustained a severe traumatic brain injury as a result of a terrible car accident about a month prior. However, he could briefly follow directions, and even though he couldn't talk to us or even smile, we set high goals that we were confident he would achieve. Devin is one of the hardest working patients that we have encountered in our time as therapists at RHI. I've been here for almost 14 years. We don't generally make it a practice to offer breaks in our treatment sessions, but rather ask, can you do more? Devin almost exclusively indicated yes, and would continue to work until he was consistently failing more than he was succeeding. Through his grit and determination, Devin learned, obviously, not only to walk, talk, eat, and do his own self-care with hardly any help physically. I think I messed up my wording there, sorry. However, as amazing as these gains were, it was topped only by the brightness of his smile, which got bigger as his recovery progressed. We really appreciate Devin and his time with us. Thank you.
Our next nominee was nominated by Julie Green. Julie Green, one of our outpatient physical therapists here at the Eagle Highlands campus, nominated Julie Hopkins. Julie?
So Julie Hopkins was on inpatient for 2 weeks after she had a fall, then on and off for about 8 months in outpatient therapy. She did PT, OT, and speech. She was such a delight and always made us laugh. Some of the things that she couldn't quite figure out how to say in the beginning, then it would just be some other random word, and then it would just be something fun, and we would just laugh about it. She had a good attitude, made a great deal of progress on her balance and her speech. She was also a cheerleader for the other patients while she was here as well, giving them encouragement throughout our sessions if she'd see somebody in the hallway and just tell them to keep going. And just to motivate anybody else who was working hard. For the funny story, one day we were both laughing so hard since her apraxia made it difficult for her to understand how to do some tasks. And there's a leg press in the gym, and she just decided to sit down on the foot plate backwards and just like look at the seat like, how did we even get here? We couldn't even get her off because we were both laughing so hard. So it's amazing she ever got up from back there because somehow we managed it. But so it was just all the little things that we did throughout the times when she would just be working so hard to get through everything. So she's made a lot of progress and it's been such a delight. So thank you.
Our next nominee was nominated again by 3 people, Allison Spaeth, Teresa Cochran, and Jen Olson. They nominated Anthony Parsons. And Carolyn Nobby.
I'm going improv, watch out. Anthony is an absolute inspiration. He came to us at our Northwest Brain Injury Center with significant incoordination and ataxia, both with his physical abilities and with his speech. Of course, all those things are important in daily life. I remember at one point you being so frustrated with how your voice and your speech sounded that you didn't want to talk. And you said, stop recording me, I don't want to talk about this, I hate how I sound, which was heartbreaking. Fast forward all the way to the way where I tell him, you know what, when you get back to playing in the rock band, they're going to try to get you to sing also. You sound so good. And you worked your tail off for it. You worked really intensely. Everything we threw at you, as frustrating and hard as it was, you did it and nailed it. Made phenomenal progress. I'm thinking, and Allison could probably come up with more examples here, but one that really stands out to me is you drumming on the yoga ball with drumsticks and getting that coordination back, all the way to you painted one of our therapy rooms to practice painting, because that's something you did before this happened to you. And I need some painting done, so I would hire you any day. You're just absolutely fantastic and inspiring, and all your hard work paid off. Just absolutely love it, and I think it just made a difference. I think it pointed out how hard you worked, and not only acknowledging the physical barriers with your speech and your body that you had to overcome, but how that affected you emotionally, and you just, boom, nailed it, worked hard every step of the way, and I'm just incredibly proud of all your hard work and how far you've come. You're welcome. You sound good today, by the way. You're
Thank you, Teresa and Allison. Thank you so much. I died, was dead for 40 minutes. My wife woke up to the dog barking and got out of bed, thankfully. It's rare, she must have known. But she worked for, till the EMTs got there, saved my life. So thank you, Amanda, for that. NBFC is amazing. They help so many people and make it look so easy. So thank you, NBIC, RHI, and my fellow nominees. You inspire me with your stories. Keep it up. Thank you.
made the speech therapist cry that he used to hate his speech, and now he's confident enough on a mic. So woo woo, Anthony.
I think we're going to move Bill on and bring him on next year.
I still get to go to the refreshments afterwards next week. Okay, all right. Crisis averted. Our next nominee was nominated by Emily Johnson. Emily Johnson nominated Deborah Smith. Deborah?
So Debbie is the most kind and hard-working patient. Her husband Randy is also very supportive and strives to assist her in all ways possible. They always worked hard on exercises at home and followed everything her therapist instructed. Debbie was a perfect patient and delightful to work with. Anytime Debbie was in the hallways, right here, we'd be walking past the piano here. Anytime the player piano was playing, she would always play the game, Name That Song. She would be able to hear a couple notes and be able to name the song that it was playing before I could even start hearing that there was a song playing. It was always entertaining how fast she could name the song. So, we love you so much.
Our next nominee was nominated by Emily Moore and Emily Normal, but I know Emily is out retrieving a child from childcare. So they nominated Timothy Thomas. Tim? Timothy Thomas, are you here? Okay. Our final nominee, unless James Allers is here. James, did you sneak in? Our final nominee was nominated by Derek Mallory. And if you were here earlier, it's the same Derek that told me to let it go after I came up with Blue Christmas. So now you have a face to go with the name. Derek and Wendy nominated Zach Urbankic. Zach?
I think it's your band sick, right? Because I think your dad said it's your band is sick. Like your band's sick. That's how I remember it. Okay, Wendy and I had the pleasure of working with Zach, and just such a hardworking guy. It was such a pleasure to work with him. He had a stroke that at the time, and I'm not sure now if you even know, but it was just an unknown. We don't know what caused the stroke. That was really kind of frustrating. You know, imagine being in your 30s and not realizing what brought you here. But as soon as we kind of talked about what we do with high intensity training here at RHI, how that can help with recovery, him and Danny were all aboard. They were like, I think I remember like a 15% incline with like 15-pound ankle weight and a weighted vest. I was throwing balls at you, just a couple. Or doing the Stairmaster. You were just always up for a challenge, and it was so fun I feel like I would run out of a session and be like, I didn't get this man to work hard at all. I need to step my game up for next time. But yeah, he was really motivated to get back to life, and Wendy even saw him out downtown with the boys just this past couple weekends ago. So I think he's achieved that. But yeah, they had really big goals for getting back to everyday life, and it makes your job a lot easier as a therapist and a lot more fun. When you got somebody who has really big goals. So it was really just the pleasure of those few weeks, just like the highlight of my day to come work with you every day. And just a little anecdote at the end, I remember talking about how we can do high intensity training at home. So I'm kind of talking to Zach and Danny, like, okay, maybe, usually with patients, I'm like, okay, you guys go for a little bit of walk, maybe find a hill or something. And Danny's like, well, I'm gonna buy these weighted vests and these ankle weights and I'm gonna push you. So I'm pretty sure he got a better workout with Danny than he did with me at home. So I just want to say thank you for being such a hard worker. You definitely left an impression on the two of us and the rest of us on Unified.
Before we close, I'd like to make a couple of personal comments about my experience with Dr. Hirokana. I had the wonderful opportunity of working with him in physical therapy several times. And as Dan mentioned, he prioritized family above so much in his life. And it struck me when Dan commented on that, because by family, he wasn't talking always about his biological children or his grandchildren. He included so much of his work as far as patients that he worked with, and even the patients that were around him. If he was sitting in the therapy gym, waiting for his next therapy session, he was always striking up a conversation, asking people where they were from, asking about their family, asking about if there's anything he could do, including pray for them over the next several days. And every time I met Dr. Khanna for his therapy session, I always started my session the same way. Good morning, Dr. Khanna, how are you? How is your pain? And it seemed very mechanical. And then we kind of got into the meat and potatoes of the good stuff, where we could talk about his therapy session and whatnot. But then he would always interrupt, and he would say, hey Bill, how's your son doing? He knew my son was in engineering school at Wright State University out of state, and I hadn't seen him for a while. He goes, when's the last time you talked to him? When's the last time you saw him? My God, I shot him a text last night, but we talked about this yesterday. And I never realized until several days later, he wasn't forgetting these things. I feel like he was encouraging me to make sure that I kept that contact, kept that personal connection. And as we're about ready to say goodbye today, before the reception, I want us to keep that personal connection. Feel free, stop in. If you have a clinic visit in a few months from now, stop at the therapy gym, say hi to your therapist, go back to the nurses' units, your old nurses, tell them, hi, you remember me, because sometimes it is so difficult for me to not look at somebody who's sitting down here in a wheelchair, but now looking 4 to 5 inches over my head, looking me right in the eye, and I'll be like, you look familiar, but I'm having a hard time putting the name with the face. So, I also want to take a few moments to thank the Patient of the Year Committee. I want to thank Mary Escalante, Kim Woodard, Mike Schmidt, Josh Halen, Stephanie Hale, Max Bullard, Joan Taylor, Lori Grant, Rob from Dietary. I want to thank our therapy managers. I would like to thank all the doctors and nurses that put everything together today, because while we were planning this celebration today, it still allowed everybody to keep working with the people uninterrupted who will be sitting in these chairs this time next year. Thank you all for all the work that you did. Your work and dedication to the Hirokana Patient of the Year ceremony is so deeply appreciated. Thank you. At this point, here's the second favorite part of the ceremony. We're gonna close things up. Please, please, please grab your therapist, grab your nurses, give them a hug, take a picture, and when you are finished with that, there are some refreshments at center court. Thank you so much.